How many I can't stand Disney heroes. They make me just want to reach for the sit bag and we can, for goodness sake, man. But Disney villains, they didn't give two shiny shakes who they hurt. Disney heroes are so boring. They're too scared to do anything evil. They're so goody two-shoes, I'm thinking, for goodness sake. Disney villains have the best songs. You got like Scar, Be Prepared. What's that about? Killing his brother and his nephew. Disney villains have the best jokes and the best sidekicks. Hello, is this thing on? Hello? Pain and Panic. Pain and Panic from Hercules. Flotsam and Jetsam, Iago. What the fuck was that about? and Car from the Jungle Book. Mate, he's on a psychedelic trip. Bloody hell. Villains who want to take over the world, have they thought of the consequences? Goodbye, despicable minions.
Essay I wrote, okay, because I'm very passionate about this, okay. So I love it when my dog has a poo. Right. Oh, it's not meant to be funny, right? Or anything lavatorial, you know, as in the old-fashioned toilet humour. I actually feel uptight when I take my dog out in the morning. I'm sure you can relate. Anyone? Any dog parents here? Yeah. If you've had kids, I can't wait till you've poo, please. And you check the nappy, come on. All right, I can sense that as a dog parent, I can be quite pushy. Yeah, no pun intended. I hope this doesn't make him anal or anorexic. Seriously. When he eventually finds the perfect spot, which can take about 20 smelly places, oh, come on, it's got to be perfect, right? Then he does what, then he'll have his poo, right? And then he does what we call a zoomie. Do you know that? The zoomie, yeah. It just makes me so happy. It just makes it so funny, right? But I feel the best thing is I feel relief. I can breathe, you know. Honestly, it's the truth. I can breathe, right? And it's like a weight off my mind. It's a weight off his mind, and I know I'm going to have a great day. Sometimes I'm nearly finished with my essay. Sometimes I have poo envy, right? I'm not joking. Yeah, and I think maybe I should eat dog food because it's just like it comes out all nice and large and soft as it should be. You know what I mean? Yeah. One last thing. When my boyfriend, which is not, it's not a boy. It's not a boy. Serious. I'm honest. It's not a boy. I'm not like that. Right. I like a man to be a man, you know, not a boy. Right. Although, you know. Sorry, men. Sorry. When he takes him out, right, he'll take a close-up of Freddie, our dog, having a poo. And literally coming out. It's coming, yeah. And he'll send it to me. I'm sitting at home with my cup of tea, and he'll send it to me. And I just get the same feelings of joy. I'm so pleased. That's it. It's the end of my essay. I wasn't too bad, was it?
Oh, great. Really enjoyable.
Thank you very much.
So the thing that I really love is doing karaoke in my room. Ooh, I don't know if anyone else does that. You know what I mean? It's like, because you don't feel like you're being judged by anybody at all. So the great thing with my room is that it's soundproofed, but it's not by me, but by my landlady. Well, I mean, actually the room is her ex-husband's, but anyway, right, so I love to sing all types of songs, and sometimes I sound in tune. Luckily, Simon Cowell is not in my room. Well, at least I don't think he is. Oh dear. Anyway, I once auditioned for The Voice, But I thought, how many times has someone sung a David Bowie song? And yes, I have done panto, actually quite a few. In one of them, I sung most of a duet because it saved time. I can do high and I can do low notes, but even I know my limitations when it comes to Whitney Houston. But as Tina Turner, I'm simply the best.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the start.
Hello. Yep. Let me just get it out. Don't worry, I've not been in an accident. Although, speaking of accidents, we're going to talk about something that I really, really hate. Just give me a minute. Where is it? Hi. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Gensale, and the one thing I hate above all things, well, there's lots of things I hate, but one of the things I really hate is guns. But not only guns, but gun crime, but how people deal with gun crime, particularly in America. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is a genuine fact, by the way. In America, there are over 300 million weapons in all. That's 89 guns per every 100 people. Yes, 89 guns per every 100 people. In the UK, it's only 6 guns per every 100 people. And what do we hardly have in this country? Gun death. But Americans, they go, oh, you're English. You don't understand. If you had a gun, you'd feel safe. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I'd use it. I mean, you know, I'm English. We're angry all the time, aren't we? I mean, all we have in this country is sarcasm. I mean, if you imagine we had a gun, it'd be a nightmare. Bang, 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 bang. I held the door open for you and you didn't thank me. Bang, bang, bang. I can't believe you made a cup of tea by putting the milk in first. That's why we don't have guns. And also, they're tricky to buy. And this is genuinely, I'm not joking here, even though this is a comedy sketch. They're also tricky to buy, as we all know in this country. But whereas in America, there are more gun shops than McDonald's, Starbucks, and supermarkets put together. Can you imagine that? It's easier to buy a gun than a Happy Meal. Oh. Da, 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 da. It's ludicrous. Just give me a minute, I think I wrote this down somewhere. You see, another part of the problem is that the gun crime is because of the outrageous laws in some states. For example, in America, if you're 16, not in all states, you know, I even give Americans the benefit of the doubt, believe it or not. Sorry, no offense. But yeah, in some states, if you're 16, you can't buy alcohol, yet you can buy a gun. That is absolutely crazy, isn't it? Oh dear. Let's go a bit here. Yeah, for example, if you think that's bad, you know, in some countries, I mean, not some countries, in one country in America, there were lots of protesters with machine guns, you know, saying they would never surrender their weapons. And do you know what's even more outrageous is the reason why they were protesting. They were protesting because gun purchases were limited to 1 a month. Only 1 a month. Imagine that. How am I supposed to defend myself if I can only get 12 guns a year? 1 a month? Honestly, only in America would your phone data last longer than your gun. Thank you very much. I've been Joseph Gensale. Thank you.
All right, stand still. It's important. So, I'm going to talk about something I love. It's living history and reenactment. Anyone here ever seen any costume, uniform in museum, heritage place? Well, it's it's amazing because you're technically an actor, but in uniform. So it's like how drama and history go hand in hand. It's amazing. And you know what? I kind of wish that when I was about 16 years old, and I was part of the youth company at the Churchill Theatre, and we did a play in World War I, where the majority of us were soldiers, but only those in the main role were allowed to wear proper uniform and a tin helmet, like a Brodie helmet, right?
I was so jealous because I was just wearing like a sort of khaki jacket, my leggings, and my sister's DMs. Yeah, I was just boring, innit? Yeah, but then the point of it is like educational. But then, like some theatre companies go to schools like to teach history, and that's something that I'd love to do. And I started doing it at Imperial War Museum as well. Like it's just something I have communicated to them and said, yeah, let's bring some costumed interpretation into Imperial War Museum because, I've also noticed that there's a huge lack of costume interpretation in heritage places in London, except for maybe Greenwich. Because maybe if you go to Greenwich, you might see, someone in a piratical... Georgian Regency, Pirates of the Caribbean, because Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed there because I was there when Johnny Depp was there, when that school kid wrote a letter to him and then visited her primary school. And I just remember, I thought there'd been a serious accident, like there was loads of emergency vehicles, but surely that was a precaution or something. Anyway, outside of London, I've noticed you see a lot more of this because I am a board member at the Royal Navy Museum, previously the National Museum of the Royal Navy, which is part of Portsmouth Historic Dockyard. I visited there with a fellow board member. We were on board HMS Warrior. Who's been to HMS Warrior? Cool, nice. So there we are. We were just coming up to the officers' wardroom, and then just very randomly, I heard "Aye, Ma'am," and I was like, "Who are you saying it to? Are you saying it to me, or are you saying it to my fellow board member? Are you assuming my gender?" Yeah, I use they, them pronouns. Would you respect it? Well, literally. But yeah, I'm sure we were saying it to my fellow board member. But then we were both finding it hilarious. We were just stood there in complete shock with this random person dressed as an officer. And I said, "I like your costume." And then he just gave me the bombastic side eye like this. And he was like, "It's uniform." Yeah, and we were just stuck, just not knowing what to say, and we were just trying not to laugh and things like that. And he just sort of like, I don't know, we were just saying that apparently champagne helps with seasickness. Well, actually, that'll make it worse for me because I'm a lightweight. And then we were just walking around, and then it was like. It was quite a surprise. And then I think we went up onto the gun deck, and there was another costumed interpreter, but this time it was a rating. And I asked what his name was. And I said, because Jack is a common name for a British sailor, I was like, "Is your name Jack?" And then he was like, "It's William Knight." And then I was like, "Oh, I love what you're wearing," that sort of thing. And they're just like sort of laughing. And then it was quite a surprise. And then after some time when I processed it, I was like, next time I visit, I'm getting ideas of going aboard HMS Warrior just to go and flirt with the historic costumed interpreters. But here's one thing. In primary school, I mucked around in history class a lot, learning about kings and queens, King Henry VIII, Does anyone remember that? Yeah. And I mucked around a lot, mainly because of my neurodivergence, but, I had a lot of fantasies with history, specifically World War II, and I have my grandparents to blame because, they would tell me their stories of their childhood growing up, and that is how I got into it. And it was long before Bite Size. This was probably in the mid-2000s. But who remembers BBC Schools? Like, those VHS things you get. I remember there was a character on there. Her name was Vera, and she was an evacuee. I thought she was really cute. One of my first crushes. And then I learned about Vera Lynn, and I was like, I've loved Vera Lynn since I was like 10. I've performed as Vera Lynn at Casper's Got Talent. And, of course, I took it to VE Day last year. Also with Casper, but it was a younger group, so it was just the group. But then, because I'm a drag king as well, you may have seen drag queens, but what about drag kings? Because I was at the Inclusivity Festival last year, and I was a British sailor, but as a rating, because it was quite hot, and it was summer, and I had my just my white shirt on, and my 1940s flared trousers that probably shrunk in the wash, that probably need to get some proper ones. But the problem is, uniforms are so itchy. right? And sometimes the shoes are uncomfortable that I have to like get a modern version with the same design to the point that, it's just, I just don't want any discomfort. I don't want to spend my whole drag out itching like mad. Yeah, they think that I'm just there for their entertainment, just itching, itching. Yeah, I'm not doing it on HMS Belfast because I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of a scout group that's come for a sleepover, and I'm not going to embarrass myself in front of my messmates. And most importantly, I'm not going to do that at the Connections Cafe, be so embarrassed, itching because of the wool uniform. But then because I'll be representing Imperial War Museum, I might want to keep my reds on, because that's what we call them as volunteers. Thank you.
I've always wanted to say that. Hello, West Wickham, how are you? Woo! Well, not West Wickham, probably sort of, hello, O2, how are you? Thank you and good night. No, I love exploring, and you'll have to excuse me because I'm going to get distracted probably during this sort of little sketch, because there's some corners there, and I'm very intrigued about what's around a corner. Something happens to me when I see a corner, particularly uphill and in the countryside. And I kind of imagine something intriguing and exciting around the corner. Like, will it be a hill or a steep climb or a row of gnarly, interesting trees? Will it be Emerald City? Will it be the peak of Mount Everest? And usually it's to get my family to keep going on a walk. I say, just look, there's just the one corner up there, and then we'll promise we'll go back. I know it's been about 8 hours, and then promise we go back. And in my mind, I'm going, please let this be good when we go around the corner. Usually, what I'm greeted with is another corner. Right, another corner. Nothing interesting. Maybe there'll be interesting something around the other corner. By the time I've then turned back, all I see is the distant backs of my wife and daughter as they head back to civilization. And most of my journeys exploring corners end with me running breathlessly back to civilization and the real world instead of my sad fantasy existence. Good night.
Right, I'll keep this short and I hope it's going to be thought-provoking. Right? Now, first of all, I love horses very much. Most people like horses, don't they? And I do really like them. Now, several things that I feel sorry for as far as horses are concerned. So my imagination sometimes runs away with me, and I imagine what it would like to be a horse. Because bear in mind, if you're a horse, you're totally bossed about by a human that's inferior to you, really, much stronger. Only got 2 legs and they've got 4, And it's all the things that we humans do to them. And my favourite, and it's not the horse's favourite, is when they're transported in horse boxes. Now, I've done a lot of driving. I was a taxi driver, so I've done a lot of driving, and I quite often found myself behind a horse box. Now, just imagine if you was a horse and you were going somewhere, event or whatever, and then you were led to this box, and you're on all 4s, of course, and you've got nothing on, because horses don't wear clothes. You're completely naked. You're put in this box, your head's down like that, against that, and then your bum is showing at the back. Now, did you notice with horse boxes, the backs never go right the way up, so the bum gets hidden. It's just so the bum is just over the top. So you're going on this journey, you could be an hour's journey, and you've just got this feeling, who the hell is looking at your bum behind? And you're also thinking, I hope all is well behind there, because you don't know what they look like, So, to conclude, and I am not asking, I am telling you. If you find yourself behind a horse box, divert your eyes.
Hello, so I've decided to do my Room 101, which I've never seen done in Room 101. And it's that I absolutely hate password logins. So give me a hands up if you remember when passwords were simple. When logins didn't even exist half the time, so you just had to put in your email address. So to start with, I'm perimenopausal, I've got hypothyroidism and ADHD, and one of these common symptoms that they all have is brain fog and forgetfulness. So I'm already fighting a losing battle even with simple passwords. But as you know, they are no longer simple. They're really, really complicated. It's like double your mum's age, minus the age you lost your virginity, pick a symbol from Wingdings, and the name of the condiment that you had on that burger last Wednesday. And the only thing that could possibly help having a complicated password like that is, of course, if you could just duplicate it and use it for everything. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to do that, are you? And after you've maintained that mental arithmetic for all your passwords, what about just writing it down then? But again, you're not allowed to do that either. So one time I had to log into my bank account to prove who I was for a new PayPal account. And I'd already performed the mental backflip of going through the first stage of my bank account security, which thankfully just involved my date of birth, which hasn't changed since I was born, thankfully. And then I got to the second step. And I knew that there was another step after this. So it was when I was rocking on the floor in a sobbing heap on top of my smashed laptop that I thought, wouldn't it be great if this was the point that I was contacted by a fraudster on the phone? Because I imagine the conversation would go something like this. Oh, thank God you phoned. I'm trying to get into my bank account. Could you help me hack into my own bank account details? And then they, all right. Oh, you need the last four letters of my password and a special character. I can see a problem here. So I'm guessing, although I hate passwords and logins, my terrible forgetfulness has at least made me completely immune to fraudsters. Thank you very much.
Hello. How are you? How's your day been? Now, this is what I hate, the social etiquette of pointless conversation. Why, as adults, do we have to do this? We have to do this little dance. How are you? I'm fine. How about you? How was your day? I don't care. I don't actually know who you're talking about. And how does this ever actually end? All you actually want to do is get away or say, actually, I'm really bored. But no, I have to listen to the seamlessly never-ending drivel and dull stories. And then people that ask you a question, but you know it's solely so you ask them one back so they can get back on track and boom, 30 minutes of your life wasted. In fact, I once drove around the block outside my house when I saw my neighbour outside because I knew that 1 minute that I'd spend doing that would save me 30 minutes of talking about other neighbours, bins and who's going to collect the leaves this week. And then it got me thinking, what about if I was a toddler? I could just yawn, say I'm bored, or go to sleep or walk off. Or what if I was a dog? We'd have a quick sniff of the bum. You'd get bored and growl at me. Job done. And finally, if I was a pigeon. There's loads of us, but we don't really interact. One of you might pester me to mate. I say no, and we go our separate ways. But no, as an adult, we listen and we listen, just waiting for the opportunity to go, okay, thanks, see you later.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and I absolutely hate when people are on their phone in public without headphones. Yeah? You hate that as well, yeah? you know, they're having a phone call or they're watching a video or something like that. And we all have to listen to their entire conversation, whatever it is, through this tinny, squawky phone speaker. Drives me crazy. It's so distracting. It's so annoying, right? And then I get stressed because I'm thinking, well, do I say something? Should I say something? Should I not say? Should I get into a confrontation? So recently, I've started a campaign, a one-woman campaign against speakerphones in public places. I'll give you a few examples. So the first time it happened, on a train, this person was, you know, on the phone, out loud on the speakerphone, and I said, excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, I actually agree with your girlfriend. Yeah, you are being a real idiot. The next time, somebody was watching a movie with the sound out loud, no headphones. So I just leaned in, brought my popcorn with me, and I said, you know Bruce Willis is already dead. And finally, I was in a bar, not a train. All public spaces are covered. And this girl was on the phone to her partner. She was like, all right, darling, out loud on the speaker. All right, darling, just on the last train home. Yeah, it'll be about 20 minutes. Love you, love you. Yeah, just 5 minutes away on the train. She's not on the train, is she? So I just leaned in and said, oh no, she's not.
So, being a South East Londoner, what I really hate is when we go to Central London and we're behind the slow walkers. You know, the ones who you're walking behind them and they're like dwaddling or they're talking to their friends and they're like taking their time. And you've got someone to beat and they're just taking their time. And, you know, being the polite Londoners that we are, you don't really know how to handle it. You kind of just want to be like, you know, excuse me, but sometimes you want to really shake them or give them a kick or punch them in the back and say, excuse me, move out of the way. But because we're polite Londoners, we just say, you know, excuse me, do you mind just moving out of the way? Or excuse me, can you just walk quicker? But you know, it's so annoying. And that's why I hate going to Central London, because it's just constant. You're trying to go somewhere. Like the other day, I was trying to get to work and I'm walking along and there's this group of people and they're walking so slow. And I'm literally like, come on, I'm going to be late. I'm looking at my clock and I'm giving them all the eyes and they're just like, la, 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 near, far, wherever. And it's like, come on, we've got places to be. So the moral of my story is, if you are going to Central London, walk fast, don't walk slow, and you won't be annoying to other people. Thank you. Could possibly talk about. So you can choose either the decline of our high street or queuing. Okay. That's a real shame, really. Queues, right. Well, on my table over here, we were all sharing and what we like, what we hate and everything. And somebody said that they hate queues. And I thought, what? Because I love a good queue. Absolutely bloody think they're amazing. Because when I see a queue, I think, an audience. How amazing is this? First of all, they've got nowhere else to be. Second of all, I just rub my hands together because I'm from the north and we like a good queue. A bus stop, it all happens at the bus stop. I mean, all the moaning, all the griping, all the laughter, all the everything. So here I am. I'm thinking, right, but there's a knack to this. You don't just plonk yourself in the queue. You kind of
assess the queue. And if it's not a good queue, you just move on. And when I received a little bit of plastic through the mail quite some time ago, it enabled me to take public transport for free. Well, I hadn't been on public transport since I went to get to school on a bus. So I get this little bit of plastic and I think, I'm going to start using public transport. Do you know what? It's an absolute gift. Because you get on that bus or you get on that tube station and you choose your victim very carefully. If they've got a phone, absolutely no, because they're not going to talk to you. They're more interested in this. If they look a bit creepy, absolutely no. So if they're a woman with kids, as a woman, I'm not so sure if this would work so well for men, but if you see a woman with kids, you think they will be so relieved to talk to somebody, they won't care that you're bothering them. And actually, as an ex-teacher, I'm quite good with kids, so it works as a double thing for them. But the problem is, you start reading the room and you start seeing their eyes glaze over. But the best thing is, you just pick yourself up and move on and come and sit next to this one over here. Hello. Right, thank you.